the recognized symbol of excellence in brotherly entertainment.
And now, Pro Wrestling and Being a Good Brother present the Brothers in Kayfabe.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Brothers in Kayfabe podcast. We are live with BIK Is War presents the Go Home to MCW SuckerMania and kind of a hard restart of season 6. Welcome back to the Brothers in Kayfabe podcast. I am one of your aforementioned Brothers in Kayfabe, and to my right in the StreamYard studio is
Mr. Wrestling, Landon Bumgarner. As always, it's my great honor, my great joy, my great privilege to be here live on the Brothers in Kayfabe podcast. It has been a while, but rest assured, we are not going anywhere. We are, we're adapting. We are reconfiguring. Life is busy, but, we're just throwing this out here. Let's address the elephant in the room. It's been a while, but that's okay. We're not going anywhere. We are to our best of our abilities. We want to be as frequent as possible, but sometimes life hits in a lot of different ways, back to back to back to back to back. But to quote the great wise Rocky Balboa, it's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and get back up, keep going forward. That's what winning's about.
That's how winning's done.
One of the greatest movies of all time. So we're here. Yeah. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Unlike LA Knight, we are here on our show. He was not here on SmackDown, and refunds were given. We will not give you refunds when we are not here, but we will give you firm handshakes when we meet you in person, and we'll give you match recommendations.
We definitely will. Like Landon said. Things got in the way and life gets in the way. Unfortunately, it caused us to take a month off. But we're back. We're going to bring you great content going forward. And we are here and happy to announce that, we're going to be back pretty full time again. We're going to be back every week here until we reach our season quota, and then we'll take our quick break and then go back into season 7. But Landon, we've got a lot of great things coming up, including our yearly tradition, the October Brothers in Kayfabe Spooktacular will be coming in late October. We've already got some guests lined up for that. And we're trying to decide if we want to do another spooky movie like we did last year. We'll see.
I think we should. I know we're kicking it back and forth on exactly how we want to do presentation. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say this will be our best Spooktacular to date.
Definitely. I mean, we're definitely going to have a great Spooktacular. We're going to have a wonderful guest that we have lined up already. We will announce that fairly shortly once he confirms a date. But October is always our favorite time of the year, and it's going to be no different this year. Landon, how have you been here recently?
Man, to be honest, I've been exhausted. I've been super busy, but I've been good. Full disclosure, I was gone for 6 days last week, up to good old Boston, Massachusetts. Man, It was exhausting in every way possible, but it's always fun. I did get to watch quite a bit of wrestling on the airplane, so that's always good. I feel sorry for the poor innocent souls next to me watching over my shoulder, watching me watch Terry Funk, Sabu, Born to Be Wired, Barbed Wire Death Match. But that's you never know what people are going to watch on airplanes, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean it's been a good month. It's been a busy month. Almost didn't make it to recording tonight just because life was getting in the way.
Yeah.
But hey, we're here. We're live and we are ready for SuckerMania this Saturday. Majestic Championship Wrestling ready to go with their biggest show of the year. You're not going to want to miss this, folks. Wetumpka, Oklahoma, Killigee Drive, Wetumpka, Oklahoma, Saturday, September 30th. Doors open at 1 p.m. Bell at 2 p.m. Free admission. You don't have to pay to get in, guys. You don't have to pay to get in. You're going to have a 24/7 title fatal four-way bout. You're going to have a SuckerMania Battle Royal tag team title bout between the Psychotic Messengers and Native Law. You're going to have Stormy Renee versus a mystery opponent. You're going to have Romeo Reese taking on Punk Sinister for the Flawless title, of course, with Kinzer Keel in Romeo Reese's corner, as well as the Native American title will be on the line in a dog collar bout between Jason Simon, the champion, and Badger James. And then who better to talk about the main event of the evening, the challenger Sam Stackhouse versus the Spotlight Logan Knight live in the BIK studios for the MCW World's Heavyweight title. Well, I guess not World's Heavyweight because you haven't quite gone out of the country with it yet, but I know that's on the list of things to do.
It is on the list of things to do. I already hit Texas with it. I defended the belt against Tino Valentino successfully, may I add. I've defended it against Kansas talent as well. I just haven't, gotten the opportunity to go international. But 2024 is right around the corner, so I don't see why not.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I'm really excited to have you on today, just because SuckerMania is going to be huge for Majestic Championship Wrestling, and you've been an integral part of this company, as along with myself, I might add, but an integral part of this company that's been a startup that's really only been around for a year now.
Yeah, it's only been around for like a short period of time, but I feel like they are able to have an advantage that probably other startup companies wouldn't necessarily have. It's the fact that they get to run on native land, and it's not like nobody else can really do that. It's just that nobody else is doing that. So a lot of these towns haven't had wrestling in 10, 20, 30 years, something like that. And so every time that we get through a small town, it ends up being a hustle and bustle of 100, 200 people that we just honestly, we didn't expect it when we first started. So it's been really nice to see Majestic have an upward growth and kind of just keep those peaks. Not to say that there hasn't been valleys, but I mean, every wrestling company has valleys.
Absolutely. There's definitely been valleys, but Logan, this is going to be one of your biggest matches you've ever had. I don't mean to put the pressure on you here, but tell the folks a little bit about the journey to your showdown with Sam Stackhouse. I mean, it's been a really long road getting to this point.
It has been. Sam is one of those guys that have been around Oklahoma since the very first day I started. The likes of Brandon Groom and Drake Gallows helped train me, and Sam Stackhouse and Merck and Montego Sika, they really helped, help me craft my game and really just get better. And so I see Sam as like a mentor and a big brother, and I know that he is blowing up on the indie scene right now. But at the same time, I also want that not to bring Sam down, but I think I am fully capable of doing much greater things than what I am already doing. Not to say that being the Majestic Heavyweight Champion isn't amazing, but I know I could be taking it places that Sam's going, like GCW. Wouldn't that be something? Defending the Majestic Championship Wrestling Heavyweight title at a GCW show. Something like that would do wonders for Oklahoma, and that's what I want to do. I want to put the spotlight on Oklahoma wrestling while Sam is busy leaving us behind.
Some strong words there for your opponent, Landon. Do you have anything to add to that? I mean,
so I don't think it's any secret. Sam Stackhouse has kind of been the top of the mountain in Oklahoma wrestling. I think that's fair, at least for the last 5-7 years. Logan, do you think it's time for you to slide up there to the top of the mountain?
It's been something that's been on the back of my mind since last year, actually. I think I was putting on some really, really good matches last year, and then, I didn't quite get the recognition that I thought I deserved. This year, I have no doubts in my mind that if I'm not top 3, the list is just illegitimate, because I have been consistently putting on great matches in Oklahoma. I've been representing Oklahoma in other places, like defending titles from Oklahoma in Texas, in Kansas, in Colorado. I'm not staying stationary. I'm trying to put Oklahoma on the map, and I'm not trying to wheel my way out and, take the fast route to the top. I want to make sure that everybody knows exactly where I came from and just how talented the state is, because it's not just me. You saw the SuckerMania card. There are so many people on this card that deserve the spotlight, but unfortunately, that's going to be mine for a really long time.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a big road for you to get to this point, and you simultaneously held 2 heavyweight championships at once. Unfortunately, losing the Empire title to Montego Sika. What makes you think that you can hold on to that title against a powerhouse like Sam Stackhouse? Man,
I think obviously people are going to say that I have a numbers advantage with Marvelous Mike, the whole Marvelous Mafia, Stormy, Anna Lynn. But I'm going to do exactly what everyone thinks I'm going to do, and that's going to be win that match. But I'm not going to do it the way everyone thinks I'm going to do it. They want to see me cheat because they know I'm a cheater, and that's fine. I may have cheated to get to where I am, but I'm just doing the things no one else is willing to do to get to the top. If I have to do even scummier things to keep Sam Stackhouse down, I'm not afraid to do it. I've had Sam in my corner. I've had Sam staring across the ring from me. But as it stands right now, I've beaten Sam more than he's beaten me, and I plan to keep it that way.
That's some heavy words. I mean, you're really going after Sam here, and the confidence is there, and I like the confidence, but don't you think you might be being a little overconfident here?
I was excited at first, and I was respectful about it. Obviously my first opponent was not Sam Stackhouse. It was JTG, and due to, business standards, it didn't quite work out that way. I'm thankful that Sam is willing to step up, but I'm not thankful that Sam thinks he can take my spot just like that. Like you said, Kenzer, I've been with Majestic since day one, and it's going to take a lot more than Sam dropping me on my head a few times to keep me down for the 3 count.
I gotcha. Well, it sounds like you've got a plan in mind. The world is going to be watching. Oklahoma is definitely going to be watching. And, what goes through your mind? How do you prepare for a match such as this? I mean, you're on the road every single weekend. We know that you're defending the title everywhere. You're wrestling everywhere. But this is different. This is a big marquee event. And this is, for lack of a better word, the Super Bowl for Majestic Championship Wrestling, the WrestleMania for Majestic Championship Wrestling. That plays a factor. This is a bigger stage than you've arguably ever been on. So what goes into your preparation, for that stage?
The preparation is a lot like any other time I prepare for any other record-setting thing I've done. I was one of the very first people to have double heavyweight championships in the last couple of years in Oklahoma. I'm one of the youngest people to do that. I am the youngest Empire heavyweight champion, the youngest Majestic heavyweight champion. I am doing things at, quite frankly, an alarming rate that I honestly didn't even expect from myself. But it just goes to show, with how locked in I am with wrestling, that anything can come of it. I have been taking my nutrition a lot more seriously. I've been taking my working out a lot more seriously. One of the biggest deathmatch wrestlers in the world right now, Remington Roar, is my fitness trainer. So I've been getting in a headset of eat or be eaten. And I've really gotten the pain beaten out of me the last couple of months with the gridiron in the gym and just sticking to those plans. It may not show necessarily right now, but I think you're going to see a whole different side of me on Saturday.
Let's take it back. We've been talking about SuckerMania and all of that, but what kind of wrestling are you watching right now? I know that it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. There's a lot of great stuff going on. What is something that's caught your eye here recently? And I'm gonna open that up to everybody on the panel tonight. Landon, that goes for you too. So,
man, honestly, I watch, was it All In or All Out, that recent pay-per-view? I always get them mixed up.
Well, they had All In and then they had All Out. So
the one in Wembley.
Wembley was All In.
Okay, so I watched that one, and then I kind of checked out the last couple of weeks just because, like, I don't know, life stuff. But I really like the matches. I think AEW buying ROH was such a godsend, because ROH was one of my, I don't know, just favorite source of wrestling, period. And I was really scared for their company for a minute, so I'm just glad. Like, everybody can crap on AEW all they want, but, like, Tony Khan buying ROH saved a childhood, I don't know, just like nostalgia company for me. So I'm glad it's still running, and actually with like really good talent. So it's funny seeing people that I know personally get to like wrestle on ROH and stuff now, because it's kind of like a house or dark show for them.
Yeah, Landon, what have you been watching here recently? We haven't got to really talk about it that much.
Yeah, I mean, full disclosure, with the passing of Terry Funk, I've just been watching a lot of Terry Funk recently.
BIK Hall of Famer Terry Funk.
Absolutely. The original, if you recall. But man, even just, I've watched a little bit of old school Ring of Honor, some 2002, 2003 Ring of Honor, specifically some Paul London. But man, even just, I'm gonna go ahead and use this as an opportunity to bring this up. So I'm gonna hijack the screen for a second. Here's Mr. Wrestling's gift to everybody. So I discovered this YouTube channel a while back, so you guys should be able to see this. It's called TH14 or TH14, and this guy, there's only 5 videos shown right here, but he's got way more than that on his channel. This guy, he goes and he'll pick a specific feud from a pay-per-view, and he will take all of the TV segments related to that leading up to it, and he compiles it all together. So you get like literally all the build up for the entire feud. And it's been awesome. I was watching the Vince McMahon, Shawn Michaels build up earlier this evening, but it's just been something fun because it shows how powerful just like the building up is, to where it's like, man, I remember this match being really good. Now I'm super excited to rewatch it. Or like, man, I didn't care about this match, but now in hindsight, rewatching this buildup, I kind of want to go back and rewatch this match.
I love that. I'm gonna have to have you send me that link. You might, in fact, we might have you just share that in the group so
Yeah, I'll do that right now.
everyone can see that. But man, that's cool. I really like the idea of that where they've gone in and just put the whole story together. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's not like it's just how it appeared on TV. It's not like biographical or anything. It's like, all right, it starts off with Vince McMahon in the ring cutting a promo about the Royal Rumble. Okay, next week Shawn Michaels comes out and interrupts. It's just fun because it's like, man, I want to go back and rewatch this. Say you want to go back and rewatch Rock Austin from WrestleMania 17. Well, instead of having to sit through, 40 hours of Raw and SmackDown, you can condense it to, an hour and a half video of just their segments from those couple of months.
I gotcha. Well, mine's really boring. I've been watching weekly Raw and weekly AEW and some SmackDown thrown in whenever I have the time. But I really like what's happening with modern wrestling. Modern wrestling is doing probably the best it's done in a long time. It's definitely better than ever. I mean, there's great matches on every show, and there's something for everybody in every show. Now, we're gonna get back into SuckerMania talk before a little bit, but I want to talk about some things that are going on in wrestling as we speak. There's a lot of rumors. There's been some stuff that was rumored that's now confirmed. We're still waiting to hear about this certain rumor. What do y'all think about this rumor that's going around that New Japan Pro Wrestling has been bought by Tony Khan? Do you think there's fact to it? Do you think there's validity to this? It just so happens that he's claiming a new era of AEW is about to start on the show that is a tribute to Antonio Inoki. So
it'll be interesting. I've always thought New Japan and like AAA and CMLL that they needed a bigger US presence. New Japan, we kind of got close with like Access TV and airing Wrestle Kingdom and a couple of those things, but it's still not the same. It's not like you can't say in the US, New Japan is, number 3 or anything like that. It probably is globally, but it's, the majority of wrestling fans in the US don't have easy access to it unless you're watching New Japan World or something. So I think, man, even if he could get some sick rights deals going to where it's like, hey, we're going to make New Japan easily accessible in the US, whether they cut a streaming deal through Warner or just a cable deal or something like that. Then the other side kind of scares me. Because just historically, monopolization in wrestling has not always been the best thing for the industry. And so it's like, if it, in hindsight, hypothetically, if we have one gigantic entity over here, and then we have this other bigger entity that's already picked up Ring of Honor, if it were to pick up New Japan, if it were to pick up Impact, then it's like we've gone for it's just one of those things. It makes me wonder, how different will it be, or will it be, no, we're operating the same, it's just under new ownership, if that makes sense.
I mean, that's the only way that I'd be happy with New Japan being under new ownership, is if it literally was operated the same. There was just more global viewership. If there was a way for you to see these guys and gals, because they're starting to introduce the girls, the women's side over there, it would be nicer to be able to see them a little bit easier. Maybe have an actual TV for them.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have a weekly television program for New Japan. As far as I know, they just kind of run shows. So I don't know, Logan. Do you have any thoughts on this?
I think it's weird considering that I just said them picking up ROH was such a fantastic thing, but I don't necessarily think they need to be like, owning everybody. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like indifferent because like if nothing changes and they're just pumping money into it and trying to get a bigger like global audience, that's fine. But I don't know. It makes me think of like the disaster of WWE buying WCW and just so much like, I don't know, so much talent was left without jobs and like so many people were left in limbo. It's like, I don't know. I'm thinking about it from like a wrestler's perspective and not so much a fan angle.
I mean, fortunately, New Japan is not in the shape that WCW was in.
Yeah, thank God.
So, I think it's more of a, if it does get bought, it's going to be, AEW owns this, Tony Khan owns this, but it's still New Japan Pro Wrestling and it's not going to change. Now we just are able to see it on TBS, something like that.
I think,
or Max.
I think my biggest fear would be, does it, best case scenario, there's just more accessibility pumped behind that. And that would be a game changer. I think it does truly elevate New Japan to the third biggest brand in the world. Worst case scenario, it's like, hey, it's under the AEW wing, so you have another AEW product to watch, to where they're all kind of bleeding over, which is okay sometimes, but it's like, I want to tune into New Japan to watch New Japan. I don't want to tune in to see continuation of something from Dynamite or Rampage or Collision. We don't know. We don't know what it's going to look like.
And that's where I'm at with it too, is I don't want it to be just AEW 2.0, 3.0, whatever you want to call it, because that's, unfortunately, I think there's way too much bleed over from Ring of Honor to AEW programming. Not that there shouldn't be any at all, because it's good to have those titles on TV and have some bleed over to a national audience. But Landon, you got something you were going to say?
So something I just thought of. I think it'd be great, similar to, obviously WWE doesn't own Evolve or ICW, but the way that WWE has really just cut a lot of deals with them. Yeah. And it's just putting their stuff on the network, and now it's on Peacock, to where there's just more eyes on the product. Like, man, like even if AEW's like, hey, we're going to put New Japan as part of our deal on Max, or we're going to, create an easier way to watch it.
So, this is someone I wanted to talk about tonight. This is the one, the only, Romeo Reese, my client, Romeo Reese. And so this is the perfect time for me to talk to you about this. And then, we can go ahead and going on more SuckerMania talk. I do not want you to lose the heavyweight championship this weekend. I am going to be firmly in your corner as far as you winning and defending against Sam Stackhouse, only because I am guaranteeing right now, that Punk Sinister will lose his title to Romeo Reese this weekend. Yeah. He will lose the flawless title to Romeo Reese, which gives us a shot anytime, any place at your heavyweight championship, simply because I know my client can beat you. I know my client will beat you. I know Romeo Reese is the future of Majestic Championship Wrestling, and that future does not have a spotlight. It has a mirror looking back on ourselves. So, Logan, Get ready to watch your back. Because the second we win that title, we're going to be following you everywhere and anywhere to get our shot at the Majestic Championship Wrestling Heavyweight Championship.
Noted. I guess that's fair. I mean, hey, I got my rise to the top off that same thing, but you shouldn't be rooting for me just because you want to cash in on me, because I promise you it's going to be a lot harder to cash on me than it's going to be a broken and battered Sam Stackhouse. So try all you want, but Romeo Reese can be the future. I'm the current and the present.
Well, the present has to end eventually. And it's going to end really soon once Romeo Reese wins the Flawless Championship. Oh. Landon, I'm going to need you to break up the tension.
I'll just say this.
I'm glad that you're in the middle of us, because now we cannot
quite
get
literally
to each other.
A decade ago, WWE had the monopoly on high-level pro wrestling, and today things are starting to open up. Rising tides lift all ships. I could not agree more with that sentiment, just like I could not agree more that the Brothers in Kayfabe is a neutral presence in the world of professional wrestling. Kinzer's opinions are his own. I don't condone them. He does not speak for me. Let me make that very clear. Logan, I do want to ask you two questions. They go together, but one is going to lead to your opponent at SuckerMania. Number one, were you watching WWE in around 2007, 2008-ish?
More or less, yeah. I was about like 7 or 8 years old, so it's going to be like spotty memory, but I'll remember like big things that happened,
Did you watch any of the WWE relaunch of ECW?
Yeah, like I watched when Zack Ryder was doing it, Jack Swagger, Christian, that kind of thing.
Do you remember this? I believe was in the second year, so it would be around 2007. Vince McMahon becoming ECW champion.
Yeah,
and wearing a do-rag.
Yeah.
What do you think about Sam Stackhouse in GCW facing Matt Cardona dressed as do-rag Vince McMahon while he was the GCW Universal Champion?
That has to be something out of like a fever dream. I feel like that's one of those things where I'd be having just a sweaty nightmare, and all of a sudden I'll fall back into deep sleep into the dream, and it's me waking up from a Rough Rider from do-rag Cardona. It's that's just a scary sight, and he made it a reality. I'm all hits aside, I am proud of Sam for getting up to that level, because he's doing things that like I was dreaming about. I was doing things on a video game,
Hey, and that's it's one of those things to where like, Sam is in there with somebody with crazy experience, but also like a lot of publicity just from that single, moment. I was just curious. I was thinking about that. I was like, because I think about that all the time, because I like such a bizarre thing for Cardona to do.
Mm-hmm.
And what are the odds that it's with Sam?
Yeah, it had to have been somebody, but I'm glad it was Sam. Sam deserved that match for sure. I'm just hoping to get up to that level. That's essentially what I'm trying to prove with this whole match. I'm glad that Sam chose to step up, because I have a lot of confidence in my heart to say that I think this match is going to draw more for Oklahoma than what me and JTG could have done.
Ooh, those are big words, but I'm in full support.
I don't agree with you on a lot of things, but I agree with you on that.
I think one thing we can all agree on as Oklahomans is there was some pretty big news for a fellow Oklahoman that broke this week as it pertains to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Kinzer, would you like to share that news?
Yeah, so one of our good friends from here in Oklahoma, a good friend of mine, a good friend of Logan's, a brother of the pod, uh, Walker Stewart is now the English voice of New Japan Pro Wrestling, replacing Kevin Kelly when Kevin Kelly finishes up his contract with them. This is huge. This is really, and I've always said that this was going to happen sooner rather than later with Walker Stewart. I'm very excited about him. You know, it's going to be huge for him, and hopefully it'll open the door for more Oklahomans like a Logan Knight to grace the main stage. And Logan, it looks like you've got something to say about the whole thing.
I'm just happy for Walker. Walker is one of the he's a day one for me. I remember the first day he ever came into wrestling, and I remember his first living in Norman about the same time as me, and we would go out pretty late to IHOP, and we talked about wrestling and what he should expect for his future and any advice that I could give him. But I mean, I was only 2.5 years deep at the time, so I barely had advice to give for myself. I'm just glad that he was able to figure it out, because not dragging on him at all, but commentary or production or announcing or refereeing is always kind of that path in wrestling that seems to be a little more obtainable than pro wrestlers. And I'm not saying you don't need talent for those positions, because Walker has everything, including talent and more. He's gonna be set for life.
I'm gonna pause you real quick. He might be the best commentator, color commentator, or play-by-play commentator I've heard in a long time.
Yeah, Walker, he was quite literally graced by God with his voice. He has a very great voice for pro wrestling, and it just so happens that he loves pro wrestling, so it couldn't have been more hand in hand. I've told him for a while that he deserves this and everything more that he could possibly get out of the business, so I'm really glad for him. And not to toot my own horn, but now my YouTube videos, all my vlogs, all my matches, they're commentated and edited by a New Japan guy, so it makes me feel awesome. A little more official.
Something I just thought about, and I don't want to get too ahead, because I don't want to be the guy that jinxes anybody, but let's just say this is the beginning of Walker's career, and I think it is. And let's just say it keeps going up. I think we all agree we want to see that. What are the odds you potentially could have two once in a lifetime commentators from Oklahoma? Think about that. You've Jim Ross decades ago.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this. He's got all the talent in the world, and as long as he keeps steady on this course, and people keep believing in him,
Walker, don't get
he's
canceled.
Gonna be there. He's gonna be there.
Don't get canceled, Walker.
Yeah, don't do what Jim Ross does now on Twitter. Just saying, everyone gives him a pass because he's an old man. They won't give you the same pass.
Don't do what Marty Jannetty does on Facebook,
man. So speaking of Marty Jannetty, so I guess around 2005, 2006, he got cleaned up for a little bit. And I'd forgotten. So I mentioned earlier that YouTube channel. I'm watching through the buildup of Shawn Michaels versus Vince McMahon at WrestleMania 22. And I forgot that there was just a random couple of weeks where Marty Jannetty was in the crowd, and he hops the guardrail and he makes the save for Shawn Michaels. And Marty looks amazing. Skin looks good. Health-wise look good. He's moving good. Physique looks good. The next week, they have a Rockers reunion tag team match. And I was and I know at the time they were considering giving him a small contract just to kind of use him here and there. But it's just one of those things. It's man, how much different would history be if Marty Jannetty stayed healthy and sober? And obviously Sean is Sean, Marty's Marty, but I'm just like, you can't tell me that Marty Jannetty couldn't have a good mid-card run in the 2000s. You can't tell me Marty Jannetty wouldn't be in AEW right now, busting out Canadian destroyers left and right if he was in good health.
All that to say, how big is Batista's dick?
Well,
Anyway,
have you guys watched the Al Snow, the OVW show on Netflix?
I have.
No, I want to.
So it looks really good, but it's one of those things. I don't think it's any secret that Al Snow is very strong in his opinions and his thoughts.
Very strong.
There's a segment where they're just like complete and total burial of James Storm. And it's rough.
I saw this clip.
It's rough and it's funny because one of my favorite clips of all time is Al Snow doing the shoot interview, and they're taking questions. And one of the questions that Al gets is, Al, you've gone on record by saying a definition of a good match is one that draws money. By that definition, you've never had a good match. And Al Snow just sits there in silence. And so just with the stuff with James Storm, that's all I can think about. And I love Al Snow. Like, he's a great character. I love him.
What does everybody want?
Like on Tough Enough and in ECW, he's great. But it's one of those things is like, I just hope that doesn't haunt him, because I would be much more down for seeing a James Storm run than a Al Snow run. But that's just me. I grew up watching TNA, so I'm a little biased.
Ooh, someone's calling you out right now.
Cheesy.
J.R. Wind saying some mean stuff right now. Hi Malik. We see you in the comments, even though you show up as Facebook user.
Getting mystery messages.
That's one of my favorite. That is one of my favorite clips, though. Is the Al Snow clip where they ask him that. It's just the look on his face.
Yeah, it's
he
just
is
like
ready to murder somebody in that room.
And Al Snow, like, don't mishear me, like one of the phenomenal, greatest resources and teachers in the business.
Oh, absolutely.
It's one of those things. Unfortunately, it seems like people who are super good at that, they, for whatever reason, just don't always get the spotlight that they deserve.
It almost feels like that.
Like William Regal. William Regal's a great example.
It almost feels like that meme that was going around for a few months, I think last year, where it was, he's a great teacher. He's great. He's great at this. Didn't draw a dime. Yeah, man. I had to bring up the Batista joke because it just, every time someone goes on a long thing like that, it just makes me think of Conrad and Bruce Pritchard, where he catches him on that and everybody's just silent for a minute. But
I spent time with Conrad this past week, Jake. I sent you a picture of that.
Yeah, you did. You sent me the pictures. He's praising Jesus with you, and up in Boston, and wouldn't figure he would go that north, but being an Alabama boy, but you never know. But Logan, it's been great having you on tonight. Do you have any last words for SuckerMania?
Just come out to it. It's free. There's literally like next to no reason to not come to SuckerMania. You got what was it, like 8, 7, 6, something like that matches free. You got literally one of the biggest stars to ever come out of Oklahoma wrestling me. One of the current biggest stars in Oklahoma. So you already got a good main event. Then you got a dog collar match. Badger James is going to kick the dog crap out of Jason. It's going to be insane.
Another thing that we agree on.
Just show up to it. It's like you're going to see a whole bunch of violence for absolutely free. And usually you got to pay like $15 for that.
And it's
what you could be
basically a
doing with
fair,
that
so there's going to be great
$15,
food there too.
what you could be doing with that $15 is running over to me or Kinzer's merch table and buying some Spinebuster clothing merch. That would be fantastic.
Let's talk about the Spinebuster brand, because Jake, the last time we were here, there were some hints, but it's officially been rolled out. So you boys, sell me on it. Why should I buy one of those incredible looking t-shirts?
Because we are here for wrestlers, by wrestling personalities, and everything we are going to do is going to be brought right back to professional wrestling in Oklahoma. And they are now the newest sponsor of this podcast, by the way. They're Brothers in Kayfabe. Brothers in Kayfabe and Spinebuster brand are going to work side by side in the future. But, don't just ask me, ask Logan. Spinebuster brand is here for the wrestlers. Logan is the perfect example of that.
I'm excited for it because when Kinzer first told me about it, I was honestly just trying to, seek out if he was trying to do a sponsorship type deal. But then I kind of realized some of my idols in professional wrestling, like Ric Flair or The Miz or, a few other people, Edge and Dolph Ziggler, they use their wrestling notoriety to branch off and do other life passions they've wanted to do, like acting or owning a fashion line. And something that I always really, really enjoyed about professional wrestling was the company Suplex or Splix, however they're pronounced. Matt Riddle, Jeff Cobb, a bunch of guys are all sponsored through them. And so I kind of had the idea of what if we had something like that, but like in our territory kind of thing, Oklahoma more specifically, but why not branch out to these other local states, and why not even most of the states if we get to that point? But I'm excited for it. I think that people could use a lot more just support independent wrestling type companies around. Obviously the best way to support an independent wrestling company is to go to a show, or the best way to support an independent wrestler is to buy their merch. But when you're buying clothing from Spinebuster, you're not only helping a sponsored wrestler through Spinebuster, you're also helping get money towards shows that me and Kinzer are a part of. Me and Kinzer do not shy away from the fact that we have a lot bigger behind the scenes roles with most companies that we work for than just initially wrestling. So it helps Oklahoma stay afloat. It helps wrestlers get to where they need to go. And also you get to see all of Kinzer's badass graphic designs. So why not buy it,
And he's exactly right. Everything that we're doing with this company is to benefit independent wrestling, benefit Oklahoma wrestling specifically. And where we want to go with this, the sky's the limit. We're going to see, just how far we can take this into the stratosphere of professional wrestling. And, that includes maybe one day doing our own shows, having Spinebuster branded shows, Spinebuster branded talent, of course, all over this state and the region. We're talking with multiple talents right now about them being official Spinebuster ambassadors. And that's, that is one of the things that is very near and dear to our heart, is making sure that the guys that the guys that put in the work and want to be in this for the long haul and want to make things better, that we help them, make an extra buck so that maybe they can make, the next show and continue this dream, because that's what we're all doing here, is we're dreamers that are trying to make something out of our dream. So, go to Spinebuster brand on Facebook, on Instagram, on X. That's hard to say for me. Twitter, X, whatever you want to call. And we've got the links up, and The more money we make on this, the more we're going to be able to invest in local Oklahoma wrestling. These are our 4 shirts that are out right now. I'm going to tell you what, we've gotten some of the most compliments from that tie-dye one right there. That's one of our biggest ones so far. We've had a lot of great compliments about what winners do what others fear shirt, which features, a nice picture of someone giving a spine buster in the background. I wonder who that is. He might be on this show. He might not. But we want to help Oklahoma wrestling. And like I said, the more money we make, the more we can branch out and get more ambassadors to the program and help them make money. So if you'd like to help out, go buy a shirt. Obviously, the people that we are going to bring in are going to be supporters of the brand from the get-go. And I can't wait to see where it goes and what we can do to help professional wrestling in Oklahoma.
And I'll say this from a fan standpoint, like, there's a lot of okay wrestling shirts and there's a lot of just bad wrestling shirts. To have like quality, something to where it's like I love wrestling shirts, but I don't always want to walk around 24/7 with a wrestler's catchphrase or a wrestler's face on my shirt. But man, like having something to where someone's like, man, like that's a cool shirt. What is that? And to be like, well, it's actually a wrestling brand. And to be able to share that, like what a cool thing to be able to do.
I mean, look at those shirts. Would you think that those are wrestling shirts just looking at them?
No,
probably not first glance. If you know what a spine buster is, then obviously you're gonna know right away. But me and Logan go over each and every one of our designs, and we make sure that every design is quality, and we don't want to put out something that people are going to be like, oh, that's crap. That looks like crap. We want you to feel like you've got the best threads on every single time you put on one of these shirts. So, Logan, do you have anything else that you'd like to add to that?
Well, obviously, like it's going to be really focused on Oklahoma wrestling as a whole, and like we're going to have ambassadors and like other sponsored athletes more than just me. But it's important that we have these generic shirts, not so to say generic as in boring, but it's basically that we have these brand-based shirts to, have at everybody's table, because, it's harder for heels to sell merchandise. But if I have a Spinebuster shirt, or let's say Cappuccino Jones or Trench Blythe, or, Sam Stackhouse has also the same Spinebuster shirt at his table, fans are going to start to see that and be like, okay, this is like a one stop, one shop kind of thing. Because a lot of wrestling companies don't tend to sell their own t-shirts like at the shows at a merch table, which I find particularly strange. But if there's a way for people to buy merchandise like that and have the funding go back to the boys, and maybe get them a gas tank to the next show, or maybe feed them in between days to the next show, I find that kind of thing super important, because the $15, the $20, the $25 goes a long way.
Absolutely.
Now, I understand you guys are currently in the middle of a giveaway for Spinebuster, right?
Yes.
And the rules might look something like this.
Yes.
Absolutely. So we're in the middle of a giveaway. We just did our first giveaway a couple weeks ago, where we gave away 2 shirts. We were trying to get to 100 likes on our Facebook, and we ended up with 200. So I decided, what the hell, let's make it 2. So now we've got a completely new giveaway. Once we get to 300 followers on Facebook and 100 on Instagram and X, we will be giving away an exclusive Spinebuster t-shirt design, 2 VIP tickets to any wrestling event in Oklahoma that you would like to or to attend. That being an indie wrestling show, and a signed 8x10 of any wrestler of your choice at that said event. You know, you liking every single page gives you a chance to be in the giveaway multiple times. So, Landon, if you go like us on Facebook, on Twitter, /X, and Instagram, then you're entered in all three. So you got
I
three
like those
chances to
odds.
win, and that's great odds. You know, our slogan is to embrace the mat and wear with passion, and that's what we want to do. We want you to wear with passion. So go find the Spinebuster clothing page. It's Spinebuster brand on all forms of social media, and go like away, because it's you want to get in now, because you're not going to want to miss out on these early drops that we've got, because not all these designs are going to be available forever. So that's what I've got to say about it.
Well, I guess that only leaves us with one question regarding Spinebuster brand. Logan, who has the greatest Spinebuster of all time, in your opinion?
Ooh. Oh man, I remember having this conversation with Kinzer when we were actually starting this whole operation up, and
I can't remember what we said.
You can say Alicia Fox.
I will go ahead and say the worst spine buster of all time is The Rock, without like a doubt. I hate his spine busters.
You don't like how he just barely like tugs at their legs and they topple
the double
over?
leg takedown.
Yeah.
Man, the best spine buster. I mean, obviously, I got to say like Arn. He's up there. D'Lo has a crazy spine buster.
Good answer.
I can't remember who I took the format for my spine buster from, but like Triple H does it a little bit. I like to get a little bit of like you're throwing a sack of taters down. Yeah. I like to get that momentum on it.
Ron Simmons would do that quite a bit.
Yeah.
I've always been a really big fan of Ron Simmons' spine buster, as well as Batista's spine buster.
Yeah.
There was someone that was a modern guy that we were talking about that has a really good spine buster.
Carl Anderson gets a decent one every now and then.
Yeah, Carl Anderson was up there, but it wasn't like Trent Beretta, but it was like some weird level of wrestler like that.
It was someone you wouldn't think has a really good spine buster, but you know,
it was Adam Rose.
That's right. You were talking about Adam Rose having a really good spine buster.
Yeah, bro. It was fantastic.
Gosh, Adam Rose.
Of all people, man.
Man, you remember that 30 for 30 over NXT?
It was something like that.
And it was pre Adam Rose when he was doing the weird I can't even remember what his name was, but he was like the safari guy. And they were like, this is his third gimmick, and this is his last chance.
This is his last chance.
Man.
That's funny, man.
From the owner of Majestic Championship Wrestling himself, Oscar Sellers, saying Badger James has a great spine buster. So,
Jake, you want to know somebody I don't recall ever hitting a spine buster, but if they were, it'd probably be pretty dang good?
Who's that?
Mr. Dr. Death.
Dr. Death would probably do a crazy good spine buster. And it would be crazy good because it was real, because he was actually doing the move. I've talked about my love for Dr. Death immensely, and that's a spine buster I don't know if I'd want to be on the other end of. Speaking of Mr. Dr. Death right here, Japanese keychain that I was able to get. Oscar Sellers has decided that he will be introduced as Facebook user at SuckerMania. Jeez. We're going to have to do that. We're going to maybe that can be a future pod where we can make some polls and list out the greatest spine busters of all time, or, the greatest German suplexes of all time, that kind of thing. That's a good format. I like that.
Let's do like a definitive poll of Hey, what are the like top 5 moves of all time? And then we break it down like, hey, this week we're going over the top 10, spine busters. Next week
You-
it's the top 10 German suplexes or something.
Logan, did you say Shelton Benjamin was one of the good
Ooh,
spine
yes.
busters? Was that
Yeah.
what it was?
Man,
That's the one that
everything-
I was trying to think
He's
of.
one of the good anythings. Like anything
Literally
he does,
yeah,
anything.
but like,
he's the gold standard, bro.
but
What do you
he's
mean?
not. He's not the person that you think of when you think, oh yeah, devastating spine buster, Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah, but he's jacked as hell, so it's like irresponsible to think that he couldn't.
God.
Like the way he just casually like leaps up to the top rope for suplexes and stuff, where everyone else is like, all right, let me step up there real quick. And he's just like, I'm just going to jump. Call it good.
It's all good.
Like RVD even grabs the ropes and launches himself up there. And Shelton's like, no, I'm just going to do a straight up vertical jump.
Here's you another one. Rhino.
Some beef
but,
slamming.
But I'm going to tell you, you're wrong, according to Bleacher Report, sir. The Rock has the 4th best spine buster of all time, right behind Triple H, Batista, and Arn Anderson.
I'm going to say Mark wrote that.
Yeah, there we go. I was holding my breath. I was wondering who would say it.
This is somebody I always forget about, Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode has a great spine buster.
Yeah.
Booker T.
Yeah.
Booker T was really great at pretty much anything he tried to do. Here's one that is on this list that I was like, David Otunga.
His finisher was the spine buster.
His finisher was the Verdict, which was the spine buster. That's I'm on board with that. I'm on board with that. Wrestler Umbra has who has the best bicycle kick?
Sheamus.
Oh man, it's great. We're gonna Titus O'Neil, someone said. I'm gonna be completely honest. I miss when Titus O'Neil was in the ring.
I miss when he slid under the ring.
I miss when he slid under the ring. I miss whenever he made millions of dollars.
Man, I miss when he just grabbed Vince McMahon's elbow and got fired 2 seconds later.
I forgot about that. I'll tell you one thing I don't miss is when I was at WrestleMania and they were like, and now WWE legend Titus O'Neil.
Hey, just remember Alicia Fox and Summer Rae are legends as well. Tyler Breeze too.
Apparently, Liu Kang has a really good spine buster. I think that's a different kind of spine buster though. But that seems like a good way to finish this up. Logan, do you have any final thoughts about SuckerMania?
Oh man,
and
just
what are
everybody's a
you
bunch of
doing?
suckers if they don't come. I just want the biggest crowd possible. Win, lose, count out, draw, double knockout. I don't care how the match ends. I just want the most eyes possible to see me and Sam go at it for one of the most prestigious titles in Oklahoma right now.
And where can the folks find you, in the coming month and, on social media and such?
I'm actually anchoring down for most of October and staying in Oklahoma. We got NCWO coming up. I'm going to be on BPW Wrestling in Bristow the same day, which is October 22nd. I'm going to be, wrestling at UWO. They have a Friday show coming up. I'm actually attending my very first wedding for fellow Rebel Heart member Justin Gray on October 27th. So a big shout out to my boy for, locking it down. Some of us aren't so lucky to have as great as women as he does. Nikki's a fantastic woman. So glad for that. But I mean, I'll be going back to Top of Texas at the end of October. So that's my one out of state booking next month. But after that, it's back to Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, Colorado every month. So I'm glad I get to hanker down for October, but I just got to kind of re-energize and get ready for the road again. And you can follow me at Logan Knight Pro on damn near everything. Also, Spinebuster Clothing, Spinebuster brand on Twitter, Instagram. Follow us. That's all. That's all my social plugs, I swear.
All right, man. Well, it was great having you on. And Landon, do you have anything else to add here?
No, I mean, seriously, go like Spinebuster Clothing, the Spinebuster brand on all forms of social media. Even if you're like, I don't know if they have the social media, check. You never know.
Most likely we do.
Check out it's TeePublic, right?
Yeah.
TeePublic, yes.
Check out the TeePublic store because there's great stuff up there. Like it looks really, really good. This is not just your generic black wrestling shirt with a little logo slapped on it. This is some quality stuff. Kinzer, I commend you for the graphic work that you put into it. And once again, I'm just going to throw this up here. Man, go check out TH14 on YouTube for just some compilations of Wrestling Feud buildup. I mean, there's stuff from late 90s to modern day on there, so just check it out. Some good stuff, and maybe if worst case scenario, you watch a good hour and a half of quality build-up. Best case scenario, you watch that and you're like, you know what, I've never seen this match, I'm gonna go watch it now, because we should always want to watch more wrestling.
That account must have popped up out of the blue, because now that you're saying something about it, I must have not caught the name, but I just watched something exactly like that where it was the entire build-up for Michaels, Benoit, and Triple H at WrestleMania. So
yeah,
I know exactly what you're talking about now, and I can't believe that I didn't know about this before.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if they blew up and now they're like paying, like to be trickled into the algorithm, but it's like out of the blue, it popped up and now it's in my feed 24/7. It's like, all right, this is something good.
Oh, I guarantee you that it will be on my feed 24/7, because all I do all day long is watch YouTube while I'm making calls at work. But yeah, like I said, check out Spinebuster brand. Go like, subscribe, and rate Brothers in Kayfabe across all media platforms, YouTube, and anywhere a podcast can be found. And share. That's all that we can ask for Spinebuster, for Brothers in Kayfabe, for our personal, wrestling journeys. Share, like, and share. The more that you comment and you like, the bigger people are going to blow up, and it's all because of you, the fans. At the end of the day, if you want someone to make it, you can make that happen. All you got to do is get people on board with that person. So go do all that. And I just got one thing, because wrestling is one of our favorite things in the world. Pro wrestling is just too sweet for life. We'll see you later, guys.